Education is probably the most important thing in the world, but you don't need university to become educated, especially not today in 2026. And that's for a couple of reasons, many reasons actually, and I'll tell you all about them in this video. I'll show you why university is a commodity, how real self-education would work, and a couple of other things. First, and I've got my notebook here, this is where I think. My first point is that degrees are mass produced. Millions upon millions of people are graduating university every single year. With that many people having a degree, the degree doesn't become that valuable anymore. And what even is a degree? A degree is a credential to show that you've studied this curriculum. But I'm sure you guys have seen someone who's gone to university, got a degree, and they either don't know anything about their degree or their degree is useless and they're failures. What they've studied hasn't helped them to achieve their goals, which is unfortunate. And literally all they do is memorize information for the exam. In school, what they do to get the degree is pass the exam. And how do they pass the exam? Memorize the info. Or it says coursework, but coursework, literally, I promise you, this is a wrong number, but just to make the effect, 90%, probably more than 90% of university students use AI for their coursework. Bro, who doesn't use AI for their coursework? Who? If someone's studying business, are they not going to use AI for their coursework? Obviously, there's Turnitin and those softwares that can detect your AI usage, but I promise you, you can easily, very easily pass the AI detectors. That's another reason why degrees are no longer that valuable, except in obviously fields like medicine. But other than that, degrees are not necessary to achieve your goals. Going on to my second point, everything that you learn in university, everything that your degree claims to teach you is free. It's on the internet. Like right now, I could go onto Google right here, and whatever that degree claims to teach, I can type it up here and learn about it instantly. And I can create my own curriculum to learn whatever I want. The degree is it's literally a paper that says I've studied this. But hey, if you've studied it, you don't need that stuff. Because you can use the knowledge, because knowledge, if it's beneficial, if a degree is good, it'll give you beneficial knowledge to enable you to achieve your goals. I can get that same beneficial knowledge on the internet and achieve my goals. Or, usually degrees, a lot of people do them to get jobs. You can easily, without a degree, and you know what, employers don't even really like degrees anymore in a lot of fields. You can easily get the knowledge, build something, get experience, get a job. I promise you, and I've seen this. You do not need a degree to get a job. Okay. Now let's move on to the next point, but remember, all the knowledge is free. Look at all these books. Look at this. Where's my phone? Oh, my phone's not here, but my phone's actually over there, I think. Wait, is it? Not sure. My point is, in a phone like that, you can find all the knowledge you need. So university cannot compete with a computer in terms of the knowledge it gives. All right, we'll just close it down. Why not? Okay, next point. Fundamentally, a university sells three things that apparently makes it worth or like tens of thousands of pounds or dollars. Number one is knowledge. Number two is credentials, and number three is network. I did that because I was like taking two away, but two of those, knowledge and network, you can get arguably much better elsewhere. Much easier actually. In university, in terms of network, if you go to it's actually quite awkward in university to go and talk to people. And it's also awkward in real life. But that means that it's basically the same. You could, instead of going to university to meet some random people, that probably will take you away from your goals, because a lot of people, many people in university are terrible. Like, they don't know anything. They've just come to university for fun. You know, just maybe after those 4 years, I'll get a job. You could go type on Google right now And I'm going to mention this a lot because this is literally the most important thing ever. A device, an electronic device. Type in Google. Whatever your goal is, find a conference on Google related to what goal you want to achieve. For example, AI conference, or a politics conference, or an economic conference, or a business conference, or an oil conference, or an export conference, or a construction conference, or anything. Find the conference, find a meeting, and sign yourself up. Go to that meeting. I promise you, that will be better than any, even Oxford University type network levels. Finding a conference online is better than networking at Oxford University. And knowledge, as we've already said, knowledge is all on the computer. It's all in the books. I promise you, I've seen degrees where one book, if you read one book of 300, 400 pages, you would have learned that whole degree and more. There's been modules in university modules that are literally a chapter of a book. They give you reading lists in university because they know those reading lists are very important. Because what is a degree? A degree is just, I've already said, a credential that shows that you've learned something. But you could just go and learn the knowledge directly without paying sometimes $100,000 and going in debt and wasting 4 years of life. You could just go read that book, which is any book. You could go read a book and get the same knowledge. And better knowledge, actually. You can get better knowledge because the degree confines you to one reading list. But you can get better knowledge if you just read the books directly and found them yourself. Okay, going on to our next point, which is sort of contrary to what I've been saying. A degree does matter in some cases. One of those cases, medicine. Because medicine, you obviously need a credential. So if you want to become a doctor, obviously you're going to need university. But you could argue that, Elon Musk says that in a few years, the Optimus robots will replace the best doctors and give every person the best medical care. But we're not sure about that. It probably is true, to be honest. I'd give it 10 years. But if you want to go become a doctor, university needed. I'm not going to say law. You don't need a university. You don't need to go to university for law. You just need one qualification. That's it. You don't need it. But I could become, literally anyone in the street could become a lawyer with a year of any course. There's a conversion course you could take to go take law. You could just take that course. It's 1 year. Take an exam. Done. You're a lawyer. And obviously engineering and stuff. But you could argue that engineering might not be, but I'd say engineering, you would need to go to university. Next point, the debt. The debt of university is so horrendous and terrible. It's so grueling and gruesome. You start life at 21 years old, 22 years old if it's a 4-year degree, 23 years old if it's a 5-year degree, like medicine, 24 years old if it's a 6-year medicine degree. You start that with tens of thousands of debt. Look, 1 year now in the UK, 1 year of university is like £9,500. So let's round that up to 10,000. If you're taking a 6-year medicine degree, that's £60,000 minus maybe 50-something thousand pounds. But also, you're going to be taking loads of maintenance loans. Those maintenance loans are like 10,000 a year, something like that. So you've got over £100,000 of debt, and you're starting your life. You're starting your life with £100,000 of debt. Yes, it's a tax kind of. You only pay when you earn £25,000, but literally minimum wage jobs after 21 will, if you work full time, will make you £25,000. So you don't even have to work in the job that your degree, that you should have got with your degree. You don't have to work in the job that you were supposed to get with your degree. You could work as a dishwasher and still have to pay the debt back. And it's a lot of debt, and it'll take a long time to pay off. And the interest is crazy. It'll basically double after maybe 10 years. And then keep compounding. It's crazy. And for a 4-year degree, imagine studying art. Imagine studying like psychology or flipping. Well, psychology is not a bad degree, but imagine studying some useless degree like, I don't know, sociology at a terrible university. And you pay all that debt and you're never going to pay that debt off unless you do something better with your time. You're going to be stuck in debt forever. All right. Next point. I've got a lot of points here. You will waste so many years of your life. So many years of your life. 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 3 years on a paper that after 30 years will not do you any good in most cases. You tell me whether that's a good deal. You could have spent those 4 years building a business, and 4 years is a long time. You could have made millions in 4 years. But instead, you chose to go to university. You chose to go to university, and now you've left university with a piece of paper and thousands, tens of thousands of pounds in debt. You could have just made money instead of doing that. I just dropped my pen. I'm gonna go pick that up. Do you think I dropped it again? In no measure, in no metric, in no way is that a good trade of your life. You've got limited time on this earth. Anyway, you guys know. You probably already know this is not a good trade for most cases. Let's go and talk about how to get a better, real, more beneficial education by yourself. It's better than going to university. My first point on this topic is that one book contains a whole degree. One book can contain a whole degree, which I've mentioned before. But if you, like for example, I'll take a book, this book, an economics book. This book, I promise you, will teach you more, or will teach you, this book is basically a 2-year course on economics. You'll learn everything you learn in economics, it's in this book. Obviously, it's not that in depth, but it tells you everything and it explains it. Obviously, I think that economics is a good degree, but that book was written by I think 7 or 8 people with economics degrees, PhDs, teaching at the LSE. That book will teach you at least 5 or 6 modules of economics in terms of depth. It will teach you so much. These books, loads of books. My point is, reading books will teach you so much. Reading books is like maybe the best thing you could do. I keep saying the best thing, but there are so many things that are actually the best. There's not one best thing to do with your life. Well, you could argue there is, but reading books is so important. Reading books will give you knowledge. Reading books will improve your language. You'll increase your vocabulary. There's so many benefits. I can just keep listing on and on. Read books. And the crazy thing is, which is not so crazy, but you can curate your own curriculum and pick books to read to learn better than a degree. So, one book can contain a whole degree in like 1,000th of the time taken to complete a degree. Second point, building and creating will teach you more than passive study. Imagine you're going to take a bachelor's in business, 4 years. Come out, as we said, 4 years lost, tens of thousands in debt, and a piece of paper. That guy is now 22 years old. It's a 4-year degree. Compare that to an 18-year-old who decided not to go to university yet and build a business instead. After 4 long years, that boy who didn't go to university and chose to build a business is now a very successful businessman. Because 4 years is a long time right now today in business. He's got millions. His business helps people. He's loved. He's got fame. He can go to university now. He can pay for it himself with no debt. But this guy who did go to university, after those 4 years, has basically nothing other than debt and a piece of paper and 4 years lost. And now he has to take much more time to get to the same level as the person who didn't go to university and chose to build instead. You learn more from 3 years of building a business than 10 years of studying business. I promise you that. And go look at what the successful businessmen are saying. The successful businessmen. All right. Point number 3. Is it 3? Well, I've made like a million points now, but this is point number 3 of this topic. And I've sort of said this. Create and curate your own curriculum based around what you actually want to master, what you actually want to do. Instead of taking a rigid degree in something that maybe you don't want to do, you don't even really know what you want to do, you can actually, you'll gain loads of useless information you'll never use in your life. You can actually create your own curriculum, books, courses, videos, mentors, around something you actually want to master. Like business, like, I'm not even sure, history, for example. It doesn't have to be around one single topic. It can be loads of topics. You can master lots of things. It doesn't have to be one topic. You can master loads of things, many, many things. Become very, very knowledgeable, very, very intellectual. You'll be able to achieve your goals. You'll be much, 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 much more likely to achieve your goals. Massive goals, not little goals, like completing a degree. Massive goals. If you create your own curriculum and study that curriculum deeply, it's better than going to university. Next point. Find mentors and communities yourself. This sort of relates back to finding a conference and networking, but you can go to a conference, you can go online, you can go to a community online, and you can find people to teach you stuff. It doesn't have to be this, it can be people you know, because I promise you, you know someone who knows someone who knows someone who could be very useful to you. Find the mentors, because they actually have the experience, like a university professor, but on the specific topic that you want. They can give you their life's experience, 50, 60, 70 years, 40, 30 years of their own experience in a message like this. And you can take that, absorb it, and now you've lived. Now you can live not one life, but 2 lives with that. with more information, 3 lives, 4 lives, 5 lives, just by not repeating their mistakes and doing the things that they recommend. And now, it seems like we're getting very close to the end. We're around here. Yeah, we're around here. I'd like to tell you that this journey of education, which I'm on as well, I'm a student like you guys. I'm literally, I'm like you. I'm just learning and I'm sharing what I've learned to help you guys. Because if I can help one of you guys, it'll be amazing for me in so many ways. And it'll be amazing for you. I'm going to tell you something that you might not hear, or you might hear a lot. Self-study is not easy. Self-study is not at all easy. University has a few good aspects, which are you have structure in your study. You get forced structure, not just structure. They force you into a structure, which forces you to get the knowledge. So you get knowledge, no matter what your discipline is, no matter how your discipline is. And second, they give you the curriculum. You don't have to find it yourself. And obviously they have exams and everything, and they have lots of help there apparently. Although it's not that useful compared to what you could do yourself. But self-study, you don't have any of that stuff given to you on a silver platter. You have to find it yourself. The discipline, creating your own curriculum and doing the study every single day and not missing anything and not being lazy and not procrastinating, it needs discipline. And I'm saying this, it's easier said than done. I promise you. It's very hard. But you can do it. But it's very hard. So that's my warning to you. It's not easy. But it's also not too hard. And it's more rewarding. And now we're at around 25 minutes and something, it seems like. I want to tell you about what I'm doing. Just to let you guys know. I'm also self-studying. I'm self-studying right now, not my own curriculum. Actually I'm studying my own curriculum, but I'm trying to get qualifications by not going to school or university, by learning the content myself, learning the stuff myself, actually learning so I can use the information, learning so I can pass the exam and get the qualification without taking all the time in university. Because obviously my path is a bit different. But I do think university is really good, and there's a big chance I'll go to university. Because I think university is good. But I don't think it's necessary at all. And I wouldn't go to university straight away. I would definitely delay it. Or I would go at a delayed time. A later time than what other people do. Because I also want to make another video, tell you guys about taking a gap year. Because that's a whole video in itself. Taking a gap year is, I think, so I went 18 months myself. When I was, 2 years ago, I went to Kurdistan. I left my life in the UK and I went to Kurdistan, Iraq. I stayed there for 18 months. I lived there. I studied there, not in school, myself, self-study fully. And I promise you, it was the best thing that happened to my life so far. If you compare me then to me now, it's night and day. And if you compare those who went to school instead of taking that gap year to me now, you could, you could say it's night and day as well. Big difference. And it's unfortunate that people don't take gap years because they think they'll be behind. This is what I want to talk about. This is a whole video by itself, but taking a gap year doesn't mean you're behind. Someone, if you ask them, I ask them, hey, why don't you take a gap year? They say, oh, I'll feel behind. I'll be behind. But behind what? Behind what? Behind who? Like you're 18. You don't want to take a gap year because you'll be behind? Your friends? Going to university? And then getting a job? What? You'll be behind? How is that being behind? You might think it is being behind, but I'll tell you something. There's a concept of sharpening your axe. I'll tell you a story that I've got from Simon Sinek in his podcast with, I forgot his name, an interview. He said, so he told the story of two lumberjacks. There's two lumberjacks. They both chop wood all day, from morning to evening. So one chops wood, the other chops wood. But this lumberjack, one lumberjack, every day at noon, goes and disappears for 1 hour, while the other lumberjack keeps chopping wood. The lumberjack who disappeared came back and got to chopping wood again. At the end of the day, the lumberjack who disappeared for 1 hour and had less time to chop wood, chopped much, much more wood than the lumberjack who kept chopping wood when the other one left. And this kept going on for a few years even. And finally, the lumberjack who didn't disappear for 1 hour every day was frustrated. He asked the lumberjack, why do you chop more wood than me when you disappear for 1 hour every day and I have more time than you? Why do you chop more wood than me? How? Where do you go? And this lumberjack, who disappeared for 1 hour every day, he said, I just went home and I sharpened my axe. When you sharpen your axe, you can chop more wood faster than someone who's been doing it for longer. The lumberjack sharpened his axe so he could be more efficient, so he could chop more wood in less time. If you take that gap year and travel or do something, self-study, live life, I promise you, you will sharpen your axe much sharper than the person who doesn't take a gap year, goes straight to university. You'll sharpen your axe so much better that when you get to their stage of finishing university or whatever, they'll be going on, imagine this is a graph. They'll be going at a steady pace, the person who went to university and didn't go take a gap year. They'll be going at a steady pace. But all of a sudden you come, and with the gap year that you have in your arsenal that taught you so much, you go and grow exponentially in less time. Because you sharpened your axe, you became better, you can do more. You can do more and better in less time. I hope that made sense. And I think we're going to end the video there. I hope this helped. And I have a question for you guys. Would you guys consider delaying going to university and taking a gap year? And would you guys, more importantly, which is what the video is actually about, I went on a tangent talking about gap years. Would you guys consider delaying university or school and self-studying instead? Would you guys consider self-studying instead of formal education? Would you guys consider educating yourself instead of being educated by a university, by a degree, a piece of paper? One last thing. Education, what does that actually mean? What does education actually mean? Education is the noun of educate. What does educate actually mean? Educate, the English word, comes from the Latin word educo. And educo means to develop from within. And so you could take that and say that to be educated is to be developed from within. But those who go on a 4-year degree to become who become so-called educated aren't developed from within because they can't achieve their goals. And so you could say that education, and this is my opinion, being educated, in my opinion, is being able to achieve your goals. And if you can't achieve your goals, my opinion, you're not educated. If you can't achieve your goals, in my opinion, you are not educated. I'm going to end it there. And I'd love for your guys' opinion on this contrarian take. And would you guys consider not going to university, delaying it? I would suggest, my opinion, I'd suggest delaying university to a time when it's best to go. For example, Shaquille O'Neal delayed university, obviously went to the NBA side, playing basketball, and then he went back to university, got a bachelor's, went back to university again, got an MBA, went back to university again and got a PhD. And who's more successful? A university professor or Shaquille O'Neal with a PhD? Thank you guys for watching, and comment down below what video you'd like to see next. See ya.